Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bob Stoops app. I'm Brad McMullen, along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. And, Coach, we've got a lot to discuss on today's show, but we're going to begin with the AP poll. Oklahoma in at number 20, and the coaches poll, they're 19. Your thoughts on where the Sooners are ranked?
Yeah, that's fine. The year we won the national championship, I think we were 18th or 19th.
Yeah.
So who knows? It's setting up perfect for us. But coming off a 6-7 year, or am I right? Yeah, 6-7. That's okay. I think we'll be much better than that. Love what I've seen watching them at practice and some scrimmage. So I really believe we're going to have a strong year, and I believe we'll be much better than that.
All right, since you've seen a little bit of them, where would you have them ranked in the preseason?
I'd have them in the top 10, of course. What do you expect? What do you think I'm going to say? But we'll learn our way there. How's that? Someone quoted me the other day. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and as far as I know, they haven't been passing out trophies this time of year in August. So we'll see. I really believe just watching them, strong offensive line. I think our running back crew is much better than people realize. Defensive line across the board, I believe, is stronger. So is linebackers. So I just really believe we're going to be much improved from a year ago.
All right, you've seen what it takes to win a conference championship. You've seen what it takes to win a national championship, not to mention your XFL championship. Does this team...
The Renegades
go
here.
Renegades. Does this team have what it takes? You've been to the practices. Does this team have what it takes to win a championship?
I really do. Believe they've got a great opportunity for sure in the Big 12. Quarterback experience. I believe their receiver group there'll be a bunch of breakout guys. Their running back crew is really strong, really good, I believe. O-line, D-lines and backers are better than they're given credit for. I think some of the new players in the secondary are going to really help. And I love the energy. I got, again, great belief in Brent Venables and his coaches. So the fact everyone forgets we lost our last 4 games of the year last year by 3 points or less, and a lot of them in the last series.
In overtime even. Too.
And in overtime. So took Florida State late into that game. So and I know that it still didn't turn out the other way. I believe this year it will. And I believe we'll be much stronger and have a much better record.
And again, you brought up the Florida State game. That was a sellout. All of the Florida State guys came back for that game. They talked about their bowl prep was at the highest level for any game that year. And Oklahoma was in that ball game to the very end.
Absolutely. Here we were a 6-6 team. Lost our last 4 games, as I said, or by field goal or less. And we're taking them to the wire. And that just shows you, sometimes a record isn't indicative of what you're capable of or how close you were. And I believe we'll flip that script this year and win those close games and have a stronger year overall.
And in case you're wondering, that Florida State team, preseason top 5 in the AP poll. All right, NCAA had come to a suspension with Jim Harbaugh of 4 games. Then you had the Committee on Infractions say, no, that's not enough. What do you make of what's happening with the NCAA and Jim Harbaugh?
I'd like to have a strong opinion, but I don't. I haven't researched the case enough to really criticize anybody. I love Jim Harbaugh. I think he's an incredible coach. And, and he's doing a magnificent job there at Michigan, where people were thinking he wasn't going to get it done, and he is now. He's beaten Ohio State the last 2 years. So you got to give him his due and his credit for that. The NCAA, just from my experience through so many years, I'm not a big fan. They're just
inconsistent.
And they're very inconsistent in how they divvy up punishments, depending on the school, depending on the blue blood or not a blue blood, and basketball as well as football, and just too terribly inconsistent in how they give out punishments or don't give out punishments, and I'm not a big fan.
All right, let's talk about the new reality show with Johnny Manziel that came out. And if you have not seen it, there are clips with Johnny Manziel talking about the money that he accepted to do autographs. This is stuff that he admitted. He has his Heisman Trophy. You have Reggie Bush from USC that doesn't have a Heisman Trophy because of money that his parents received. Do you think Reggie Bush should get his Heisman Trophy back?
Who's in charge of that? The NCAA again?
No, I think the Heisman Trust, but who
Or
knows,
the Heisman,
right?
Listen, it's ridiculous that Reggie Bush doesn't have his Heisman. Listen, if they think Reggie's the only one that maybe had an impermissible benefit through all these years, come on, you got your head in the sand. Give Reggie his Heisman back. And you don't even want to get into down the line of how many you might have to take away of guys that have taken something.
Exactly.
So, please, it's ridiculous. And you're talking Reggie's one of the more special players to ever play college football. So that just needs to happen.
And a great ambassador of college football, covers the sport right now, talks about the joy of playing the game, and you actually had a chance to work with him on the Fox pregame show.
Absolutely, and I'm not speaking up just because I am. I love Reggie. He's a super guy, great person, and he's fantastic on TV. And I just believe that, he is one of, again, if you think he's the only guy that has taken an impermissible benefit, they got their head in the sand. And, and especially when you look at the world today of what's happening in football. So in the end, he deserves to have it back, and let's just get it done.
All right, well, it's preseason time, so you got to be talking about not only who you think is going to win the national championship, but who could win the Heisman Trophy. Let's get to the first. Besides Oklahoma, because I know you're a homer, you like the Sooners, and you hope that they'll get into the playoff. Who else do you believe is going to be a front runner for the playoff this year?
Well, the obvious teams, Georgia being back to back, definitely Michigan. We've got a strong team back. Ohio State, Alabama's got to. They're always going to have a chance. The usual. Players in this, I think are the front runners.
Is there anybody off the radar maybe that you go, hey, that team could have a shot?
I don't know about off the radar. I think usually those teams are all on the radar. I think OU has a schedule that sets up for it. If they can make if they come out and play the way I feel they can play, that has a chance to happen.
Are you not in love with the Texas Longhorns? Because most of the people, they're like, man, Texas, all the way.
I think you're going to have to go to someone else's app to get that angle. But so no, I'm not going to go there. I hear a lot about TCU and talking to people who really are there. Sonny feels he might have a better team than a year ago. So good for him if they do. I think, no one on my app, but USC, I think, will have being their last year in the Pac-12, and with Caleb back, I think that's you always look at quarterbacks, and, to me, that really puts you over the edge. You look at Georgia and look at Stetson Bennett and the way he played the last couple of years. Those quarterbacks have such a strong influence on the game. To me, you always look there first and how that guy plays. Yeah,
experience matters. And speaking of Caleb Williams, he is the returning Heisman Trophy winner. There are some other names being mentioned: Marvin Harrison Jr. From Ohio State, Will Rogers from Mississippi State. You also have Will Howard from Kansas State, who could potentially be there. Off the radar, Spencer Rattler. Just a few years ago, he was Vegas's odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. Who do you like in this race early on?
I do like Kansas State's quarterback. The way he played the back half of the season last year, won the Big 12 championship against a great TCU team. So Will Howard, right? Did I have that right? Howard, I really like the way he plays. Will Rogers, I'm a big fan of watching them play. But I think Kansas State's going to have a strong year too. So I think that's a legitimate dark horse, definitely.
I cannot wait for the college football season. Just weeks away from that first game. Whew! It's going to be a lot of fun, and of course, Boomer Sooner, everyone. For Coach Bob Stoops, I'm Brad McMullen saying, don't forget, for videos anytime, just tap on our video link.